Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Lily Allen Duenas. Together, we'll talk about the world of yoga and we'll talk to people from around the world. Before diving into the episode, I wanted to invite you to join me for online yoga classes. I'm teaching yoga online nearly every day of the week, and it's everything from yoga for people who say they can't do yoga to strong vinyasa flows. I'd love for you to join me. I have $15 off credits and coupons to send to new students if you click the link in the show notes or head on over to my website, wildyogatribe.com. You'll find everything you need. Also, this March, in honor of Women's History Month, I'm teaming up with Moxie to put on a month-long challenge for just $25 for 10 classes with other yoga instructors and wellness professionals. And 100% of the proceeds go to Girls on the Run, a nonprofit that is all about girl empowerment. Join by clicking the link in the show notes, or you can find more information on my website and social media pages. I'll see you there. Are you ready to dive into the show? Let's get started. Namaste, family, and welcome back to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. Today, I am so excited to welcome Osman Teezo Kargbo onto the show today. Osman is a yoga teacher from Sierra Leone in West Africa. He started his yoga training with Africa Yoga Project in 2018. Since then, he has given yoga outreach to different yoga communities in Sierra Leone, and he also hosts yoga workshops with nurses at the biggest nursing school in Sierra Leone. He aims to become a yoga therapist, and he teaches Baptist, Vinyasa, yoga for children, meditation, and pranayama. So thank you so much, Osman, for being on the show today.
Hi, Lily. Thank you for welcoming me.
So I would love to start off with asking you how yoga first came into your life.
It's an amazing story, and I would always love to share it. I was born in a year after the Rebel War, the Civil Rebel War in Sierra Leone. So I can say I did not experience peace for over 10 years since my childhood. And I am the last born of my family from a humble background. My father is a victim of polygamy. He had 4 wives, and my mother was the third wife. There comes a times when my father no longer takes care of my responsibility and my siblings. So because of his financial status and all of those things were done by my mother, and it was a great fight. My father died 2007, and I completed my high school in 2014. So after so many years of struggle with my family, and I enrolled in a film-making course with a local film institution called Future View Media House in McKinney. This is where I met Edward, who was a yoga teacher from Africa Yoga Project. I was so traumatized with my family, with relationships, society pressures, because I live in a society wherein it's not really good for my mental health, for my mental well-being. So all I wish was to have that one moment wherein I can just be, maybe just for 60 seconds, relax and let go of all the stress and be aware of myself. So after trying yoga with Edward for the very first time, after so many promises with Edward, I tried yoga. So it's become something I always needed. After the practice, I was relaxed. I slept off, and that was my first experience sleeping after the practice. So I said, so this is all I needed all along. So I started practicing yoga with Edward, and it became part of my daily lifestyle since then up to now.
Wow, it sounds like yoga came into your life when you were finally ready for it in a way, with so much hardship and struggles, and I'm so sorry to hear them. But I feel like yoga came into your life right probably at that time when your heart was really calling out for more peace or a way to process what had happened. Do you feel like it came at the right time?
Yeah, I feel like it came the right time because it's been a hard and tough time for me since my country has been a lot of hurdles, from the 11 years of rebel war. We had the Ebola, mudslide, and a lot of traumatic issues. It was very hard for me to find peace. So yoga came to the right time. I was able to dive in, find peace. And the greatest part of it is I found a family. We all share common interests, and there was not like a competition. It was so wonderful because whenever you live in a community, so many competition among others to grow, you find yourself with a lot of pressure. So being among the family of yoga with no competition, we all share common interests, we care for one another was the greatest accomplishment for me. And it really came at the right time. It brought a lot of peace.
I'm so happy to hear that the community that yoga has built around you, I know that is very special for me as well. When I get to meet people like you, Usman, from around the world and get to hear their stories, or when I even get to be in a yoga studio myself and teaching with students or taking classes with other teachers, I also feel that kind of that shelter that yoga creates for us, like a little safe haven where we get to be ourselves, release our tension and stress, and support each other, as you said. So it's a huge gift. Usman, I would love to hear, since we've been talking about it tangentially, I'd love to hear how you feel that yoga can help with mental health.
Sure, that can help mental health because I've been thinking about my 10 years since childhood of struggling with looking out for what is peace and what is war, because it was so hard for me to define what is peace. When I was born, for the past 10 years, we have a civil war. So all my childhood still was war, and war. So when I grew up on the age of 15, I had a lot of struggling finding out what is peace and what is love. So I have this kind of a quiet emotion of trying to figure out, finding peace within myself. So I became one of the most quiet boy around, even though sometimes when I speak with friends, I had to talk a lot, ask so many questions, just to experience love and care. So my involvement with yoga has created that peace that I can never imagine. When I had a lot of impact with my community, it tells on me because I use that has a great impact within my relationship and friendship, because of the family background I came from. Sometimes I became treated like we are not playing with you because you don't have toy, you know. So that difference is always within the community and friendship. So I have that pressure within me until when I find yoga, I get to move along with different people from different community, different tribes, nations, and we all share common interests. We see ourselves as one family. We all see ourselves as the same. So since then, I find out that yoga can be a very great tool for my mental health. And since then, I started accepting who I am. I started seeing situations as they are, because it's natural that things happen and sometimes we cannot change it. We just have to let it flow and accept the moment. So since then, I became more and more peaceful and happy. So I can say yoga is a great tool to my mental health.
Yeah, yoga is a great tool for mental health for me as well. I know that it helps me to find more space. Absolutely, to find more kind of space to think, to pause, to process instead of reacting so quickly or with anger or with a strong emotion. I feel like through meditation, through pranayama, through yoga asana, I've also learned some tools to help me not just process, but also to move forward. Do you feel like yoga has helped you with those things as well?
Of course, because one thing I feel to me is that I am a very emotional person. Sometimes I get angry very quickly. I have that kind of a feeling that whenever I see something, I feel sorry for everything that I see. That has been holding me back over years because being emotional is something I fight. I fight so hard to get myself off from because I know things happen in life and we just have to accept things that are happening, even fashionally to yourself, to your lifestyle, to your family. My involvement with yoga, I find out that there are a lot of changes in me right now because I accept things as they are and I take responsibilities of any action that I do. And it's something that is so useful to me because living in a community wherein you have seen a lot of challenges. If I became somebody who is so emotional, saying things that are sad and relate them to myself, it's like I'm slowly dying for problems that are not personally mine. So when I find myself through yoga and meditation practice, a lot of pranayama, breathing techniques, so I was able to control my emotions and I was able to see things and accept where they are. So it's really a great tool for me and it's really worthy to have yoga in me every day.
That's really powerful, Usman. And I know that you do a lot with your community to help them as well. So I know you teach yoga in hospitals and with nurses and with children. So how do you feel that yoga helps?
Yoga helps a community greatly. After my 200 hours yoga training with African Yoga Project, I came back to my community and started giving out free outreach classes. First of all, the most powerful thing that happens to me is that here in Sierra Leone, we have so many ethnic groups. And among the ethnic groups, we have tribes and we have other dialects. So I find myself in a tribe called Timne dialect. And I can always talk Timne and speak a little bit Creole and English. When I came from Africa Yoga Project and they asked us to give free outreach classes to different communities, that was my first challenge. Going to different community where they cannot speak their dialect and trying to impact something in them was one of the greatest experience ever I have faced. I live in my country for over 18 to 20 years before diving into yoga. And I've never gained that experience. Let me go into a different community, trying to interact with people from different dialects. But yoga forced me to do that. And I find so many peace and I find so many experience trying to at least communicate with people from different ethnic groups and different dialects in my country. And it has a great impact in me because sometimes we have our own definition of different other people because of their behaviors and because of their dialects and tribes. But as a yoga teacher, when I reach to those communities, trying to impact the yoga in them, seeing how they love it, seeing the smile that they put in their faces, seeing the love we share together, the food we eat together. Some even gift me. They say, I have these mangoes, I have this food, I have this wonderful painting for you. I love the yoga because there has been a lot of perspective of what yoga is in different parts of my country. Because yoga was new and yoga was like related to one of these religion that I'm worshiping, which is the Muslims. So we have different poses like down dog, forward. Those are related poses. Those are related things we see in the Muslim religion. And a lot of people has been relating yoga as a religion, which is very huge impact in my community. So a lot of people are afraid to practice yoga. When I tell them, hey, listen, I am a Muslim and I worship the Muslim religion. I am also a yoga teacher, which means yoga is not a religion or yoga, it is not what you think it is. I dive into those communities. It is so amazing to see how people come and join my classes and how normally they want to communicate with me, and I cannot understand their tribes. So sometimes I have to find somebody very close to me to help me interpret that language. It's just so amazing to see how best I can try to understand other tribes, understand other people from different ethnic groups, from different communities. That family, that union is so amazing for me. And it has been a great impact in my community. And recently, after doing my yoga training with Yoga Pura Vida Foundation, I dive into a different perspective about yoga because we have a lot of people in the hospitals, people that can stand but they cannot move, people that are in the sick bed for over weeks without moving. So I've been thinking about these people. I said, why can't I just incorporate yoga in health? So I started a project of yoga in health with Yoga Pura Vida Foundation to see how best I can teach nurses because they are the closest to those patients. So I started a workshop in Losad and it was so successful. I preached to them. I told them, if you can accept yoga and you have the impact of yoga, you can go out there in the hospital, not just to administer drug to the patient, not just to give them injections, but sometimes they have been in bed for over days without practicing, and you find out that their muscles and joints become stiff. So if you go out there as a nurse and you have a little experience about yoga therapy, you can go there and serve as a therapy also. You can say, hey, why can't you stand up? We have this yoga series in Yoga Pura Vida, like that's an award, wherein you can sit down and do your stretches with the muscles, start with the arms, the joints. You can do that to your patient. By so doing, you strengthen up their muscles. Their muscles become loosened. So if you administer the drug or the injection, maybe it's the right time because the injection or the medication will go down smoothly. But sometimes you find out when you're in the hospital and this patient is sick, I've been in bed for over days, you went there and administer an injection. At the end of the day, the muscle end up swollen. So that's all is another great impact in terms of health. So I started giving out free teachings, free workshop with nurses. There was financial challenges, so I had to stop recently because I cannot pursue the workshop with other nurses in other places because I have no sponsor. I have to move on by own. I have to put something out of my pocket with the little things that I get from my filmmaking career just to impact my community, just to impact other people's lives. So it has been a very great experience for me and I enjoy doing it so much because what I learned is it's not about what you get. It's about what you can give out and what impact you can make in your community. So I am in love with doing what I'm doing and I would love to continue doing what I'm doing. And I think it is the right time for me. And I see so many acceptance in terms of the nurses. They accept the yoga practice and other nurses and other doctors have been given these yoga practices. They accept it. And I'm sure gradually it will move and reach out to different community in my country.
Thank you so much, Usman, for sharing that. It sounds absolutely incredible to be doing this yoga therapy in the hospital for people who can't move or don't move easily. And I agree with you. It's not about having a healthy, able body. It's just about having a body. You don't have to have any flexibility or any fitness level or any health level. It's just about how the practice can heal and how the practice can work for you. So I'm so grateful that you were able to serve your community doing that for so long. And I hope that some sponsors come up and help so that you can go back to doing it. What are your future plans for yoga? Do you have any other future plans for what you'd like to do?
I have a future plan for yoga because I have been striving so long to at least have a studio of my own wherein I can give free outreach classes, free outreach classes, and wherein I can give my donation classes and classes. But it has been a very great challenge for me. There are no trustees here in my countries to fundraise for you because in Africa, especially my country here, there has been a lot of misfunding in terms of other NGOs and other people asking for donation. And yoga here is a very new thing. And there has been no fundraisers for me. I tried so much reaching out to the Ministry of Health in order to see if I can get sponsored in terms of having my own studio. Then it's so hard for me. But now I am trying to pursue my other cause that to be a yoga therapy. So I am embarking on taking another West African examination because I need one subject which is physics. So going for another course which is related to yoga. I'm sure if I succeeded in diving into it, I want to make sure I develop my project, which is yoga in health. We are in reaching out yoga to different health sectors in my community and in the country as a whole. So I want to make sure I develop that project. And I'm still working on it. I'm still seeking out for donors and at least reach yoga to those people. Because there are many doors. There are many open doors. Sometimes we reach out to closed doors and we find out that we are stuck because we want those closed doors to be open. So I've tried so much and there are locked doors, there are doors that are closed, but I never stopped trying. I keep on moving. I keep on moving. I know maybe one day there might be an open door for me. So I'm fighting out to see how best I can develop this project as yoga in health. I'm still working on it. And to the world out there, if anyone is seeking out to support and help, I am here seeking out for it. My country here, Sierra Leone, we have a lot of traumatic situations among youths, among peer groups, among ourselves, among adults. So I think yoga is a very great tool. Yoga can be used to heal those traumatic situations. There are a lot of youths that are into drugs right now because they have nothing to do. They find themselves as drop out. This is the end of their lives. We have few of these people that have joined my yoga classes and they testify that after joining your classes for a month now, with your coachings, through your teachings, your advices here, I find peace and I started changing from negative to positive. And to me, yoga can be a healing tool. Yoga can be something that can help those people in my country to see how best they can help establish yoga in my country because this is yoga and I'm sure it is going to help a lot of people in my community. These are my future plans for now.
Thank you so much for sharing them with us, Usman. I love your plans. They're beautiful, they're bright, and you are completely right. Doors are open, doors are closed. Just keep trying to open them. And I would love to, Usman, if you could share with our listeners, what is Sierra Leone as a country like? Maybe we could pretend that somebody's never really heard much about Sierra Leone before. Could you share more about your country?
Yeah, Sierra Leone is in the West Africa, on the coast, and it's a very small country which has a boundary between Guinea and Liberia. And we are surrounded with beautiful beaches, islands. We have amazing people here. We love strangers to visit always, and we love to give the best hospitalities to strangers because we always want people to go and come back. My country is small and we have a lot of business people here. But I can say, if you come to Sierra Leone, you can enjoy the best weather ever. You have mountains, you can see some animals and other natural things that you can see in the forest. So if you want to visit, come to Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is amazing. You are welcome in Sierra Leone.
It sounds absolutely beautiful. And I do love warm weather. Absolutely. And beaches, of course. So, also, could you share more about the Africa Yoga Project and your experience with AYP?
Yeah, let me tell you about Africa Yoga Project. My involvement with Africa Yoga Project was due to my commitment in the practice with Edward, who happens to be my first yoga teacher in Sierra Leone. So there was a scholarship and I applied for it. Luckily, I succeeded and it was really an amazing journey to Kenya. It was my first travel on air and it was my first travel out of my country. I used to remember when we were kids, seeing an aeroplane, a helicopter passing up the sky. We'll be shouting, running, chasing it. And sometimes I stand up and just watch at it and say, one day I would wish to be up there. So my journey with Africa Yoga Project reminds me of those days when I wished to be up there. And being that I came from that community, a humble background. I never thought I could achieve that dream. When I was given the scholarship and I was given the ticket, I thought it was a joke. I was like, how can this happen? Just look at me going into a fly, moving out of my country until the day comes when I went to the airport. I was the last person they were waiting for in the flight. Can you imagine? So I left my country for this experience with Africa Yoga Project, and it was amazing. I met a lot of amazing people. And the yoga in Kenya with Africa Yoga Project, they changed my life for good. Because during my few days in Kenya with AYP, I discovered a lot of potential in me. I was able to stood up for myself, and I find the greatness in me I never knew before. I was able to interact with those people. I shared a story about when I was growing up as a teenager. From a Muslim background, we are not allowed to leave our homes to go to clubs. But because of friendship influence, I used to sneak out at night and wait with my friends to club just to become social. But when I came back home, I had to sleep because I came home very late and I want to miss my prayer in the morning. So my mom would go to my door and say, no, Usman, can you please get up? It's time for prayer. It was one of my most embarrassing moments for me. I thought my mom was doing bad. I said, Mom, how will you just be waking me up in the moment where I am going to sleep? Mom will say, you have the whole night to sleep. Where are you from? I said, oh, sorry. So I was not that much authentic to speak out the truth. Can you imagine, after my training with Africa Yoga, I had to come back home and explain to my mom. I said, Mom, I want to confess something. She said, what? I said, I used to sneak out. I used to sneak out, go to club with my friends. No, I had to say everything out. My mom was so surprised. She said, what makes you say this? I said, because I've learned to be more authentic, to speak up the truth. So let's go of those things that are holding me back. My mom was so happy for me. He is the number one person that is always supporting me when it comes to yoga thing. So my experience with Africa Yoga Project was a very huge one. When I came back from the little stipend that I earned from Africa Yoga Project through our mentors, was one of the greatest accomplishments for me as well. I was able to start an apartment on my own with my mother through the little stipend that I gained from Africa Yoga Project. And I succeeded in that. I have that. And today I was able to survive through that. I survived through yoga. I survived through my Africa Yoga Project counseling that they gave me, and through my mentorship program. I survived from all those people. And to say, since then, I'm able to take up leadership roles in my community. I have impacted so many people through my free outreach yoga classes. Up to this moment, I don't know how to charge people to pay me for my yoga class. People will say, how much can I pay you for your yoga class? I said, you can pay me anything you feel like paying me. All I needed for you to do is to accept and to allow me to teach you and to see how best this yoga can impact your life. I need money, but I need to impact you first. So whatever you can offer it. I don't have fixed amounts of payment charging people. It's very amazing. So my experience with Africa Yoga Project, it's something very great for me. It's a change from negative to positive. It's an impact for me. It's a life-changing journey for me. I'm so happy to be part of it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Usman, for sharing that. Africa Yoga Project is incredible. I am always in awe of what they're doing and their mission, their vision, and how they support people to become yoga teachers to serve the community. It's just so amazing. So thank you so much for sharing your story with Africa Yoga Project with us. And my last question for you is, I was wondering if you could share with our listeners, do you have any online offerings or anything you want to share about Zoom yoga or even your social media accounts?
Mostly you can find me through my Facebook accounts with my name, Osman Teezo Kargbo. And I have a page in my Facebook account which I mentioned with African Yoga. And also you can reach me out through WhatsApp +232 77 986 001. And also we have a group which we formed years back with other teachers, which is called This is Yoga. It's a Facebook group and a Facebook page. This is Yoga. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Usman. Thank you so much for being with me today as well. It has been a joy to be with you.
Thank you, Lily. And I am so happy to meet you. And I'm so happy and proud to tell you that this is my first podcast ever. And it's my first experience and I really enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. My conversation with Osman Teezo Kargbo, a yoga teacher from Sierra Leone, was so humbling as we looked at Usman's history and story about how yoga came into his life and gave him the ability to heal from a lifetime of hardships, trauma, and war. I hope that this conversation made you rethink about what yoga can do, not just for an individual person, but for an entire community. Thank you for tuning in to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. Be well. Thank you for the gift of your attention today. If you feel called, please share this episode with someone who you think could benefit from it. Leaving a review would also be so appreciated. Also, I hope you can join me for yoga classes live streamed and on demand on Moxie, a new platform where I'm hosting classes. To take advantage of those $15 off coupons available for new students, the links are in the show notes as well as on my website, wildyogatribe.com. I'll see you on the mat. And as always, be well, dear one, be well.